Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined. Wow, it's been a while since you've been on here. It's Nathan Solomon from the Podium Finish, and also he does some Bonnie stuff for. What are you doing now, college basketball wise?
Calling the St. Bonaventure women's basketball games on WSPU 80.3 FM. So that's our college station here on the campus of St. Bonaventure University. So that's basically the off-season thing. It's so perfect. I mean, the basketball season starts November, like I don't know, the day after NASCAR ends. So it lines up perfectly. So
Plus,
here
you're
we
all,
are.
yeah, and also you're doing. I think you believe you're doing some Cornell stuff as well.
Yep, Cornell stuff, St. Bonaventure men's stuff too. Not TV or radio, but that's just more the written side.
And you're going to be on some, and you're funny enough, you're going to be on my outlet tonight. Talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I'm yeah, looking forward to it though. I mean, they're just talking to me about kind of like my career and everything I've done up to this point. So looking forward to it. I don't, like I said, I don't really know what to expect, but should be fun.
Yeah, tune in to Life on the Grid, which will be tonight at 8, I believe at either 7 or 8 p.m. over on Grid Network. All right, there's been a lot of news surrounding a lot of NASCAR news lately. Let's start with Ty Gibbs. Of course, it was confirmed that he was going to Cup, but everybody knew that. But what kind of threw everyone for a loop was that the 54 number is going with him, and the 18 will not be ran. Kind of gives the team to create their own identity and all that. And of course, everything going on with Ty currently after Coy's passing, it's just there's a lot going on with that team. But Ty Gibbs is going to Cup, and looks like also his crew chief Chris Gale is going with him too.
Yeah, not surprised about either of those aspects. I mean, I think everybody knew that he'd be going to Cup. I had a feeling that Chris Gale would be going with him. I couldn't really see them pairing Ben Bayshore with Ty Gibbs, especially just, seeing the success that Ty and Chris Gale have had together at the Xfinity level. You know, if something's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's the old saying. So that's kind of the case there. So Ty Gibbs, Chris Gale, they'll get basically season number 3 together, the second full-time season up. Now the Cup Series and Ty, it's going to be his rookie season officially, but I mean, kind of not though. I mean, he basically ran half a season in the 45 car. Well, the 45 and the 23 car, so a little bit of both. After Kurt's concussion, so he's got like I think like 16 races in there, or 15 or 16 races he did in the Cup level. So that'll certainly help him here going into his first time season. He has the experience. Um, it's not going to be as big of a culture shock for him come the Daytona 500. Like there's certainly some tracks he's not been to yet. That next gen car, it's a huge learning process for anybody, but he'll definitely have a leg up, and I mean he'll be going into a little better equipment too. I mean I like to say at this point that JGR has better equipment than 2311, so he'll be probably a little bit quicker than he was this year. And now, I mean, the 18, the flagship number of JGR is not going to run next year. I think it might return in 2023 or excuse me, 2024, maybe after Martin Truex Jr. retires, whenever that may be. But it'll be definitely a little bit different seeing a 54 Cup car and no 18 Cup car. But none of them really surprised me. Like you mentioned, I think the 54 part is the most surprising. But he's creating his new brand, his own brand, and I really can't fault him or JGR for doing that.
For sure. All right. This was a week ago, but start times were also announced for Cup Xfinity and trucks. Lots of interesting news there, but we haven't had a chance to talk about this. Well, I haven't had a chance to talk about this with anybody. But 21 out of the 36 Cup races will be on either Fox or Big Fox or Big NBC. That's the most since 2009. There will be at least 10 Cup races on NBC. That's the most since 2006. Also, there's a few more night races with Nashville and Atlanta, the second Atlanta date, I should say. And then just a lot more interesting stuff. Of course, North Wilkesboro will be on the truck race will be on Fox, and just some other interesting stuff there. What are your thoughts about all this start time stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit more favorable in all honesty compared to other years. I mean, you look at general start times. I mean, really from basically mid-April to like through August or September, everything's basically a half an hour earlier than it was. So there's less 3:30 starts. and 3 o'clock starts. And instead of everything being 3:30 or 3, now it's 3 or 2:30. So a lot of things are like half an hour earlier, which I totally don't mind. Like your race, 2:30 at Michigan, like that's a good start time. 2:30 at New Hampshire, 2:30 at Pocono. I like those better than 3 o'clock starts. So a little bit earlier, the better. I think Atlanta as a night race will be fun. I'm glad that both Atlanta races are also 400 miles this year. I know that's a little bit off topic, but um, just because of the way that new track is, that new layout is, I think it'll be beneficial to have one day race, one night race, and then Nashville at night. I like that a lot. So, the first three NBC/USA races kind of have wonky start times a little bit. So like 7 o'clock in Nashville, 5:30 at Chicago, which is a really weird time, and then 7 o'clock at Atlanta. So no typical afternoon races until you get to New Hampshire on July 16th. But no, I'm a big fan of it. I think Sunday night races are better than Saturday night races. I think they can kind of brand something out of it by having those Sunday night races, and overall, I just think Sunday nights will get way more fans than a Saturday night race. So good on NASCAR's part for kind of recognizing that. And we have only 2 Saturday night races this year, Bristol and
Daytona.
Bristol and Daytona. That's it. So I think that's good for the sport.
It is. Yeah, it's lots of fun there. NASCAR at night. That'll be fun. Yeah, and of course the 2 tracks that I might go, Michigan, Pocono. I might be going to both of them, so who knows? Well, Michigan for sure. I'm not sure about Pocono, but anyway, also some news today. Junior Motorsports announced a little bit of a crew chief lineup change. So kind of keeping track of it, of course. Kind of keeping track of everything with that. Brandon Jones and Jason Burdett will be paired together. Of course, Burdett comes from Justin Allgaier's team. Taylor Moyer goes from the 1 team to the 8 team, and Josh Berry. So basically, the 8 team he's back on the 8 team again. Jim Pullman will be with Justin Allgaier, and then Marty Lindley will reunite with Sam Mayer. Of course, those 2 won they won the 2019 K&N Series Championship, and then they won the 2020 ARCA Menard Series East Championship. That was the branding change and all that. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, kind of interesting there. We knew that there'd be a couple of new crew chiefs, of course. Mike Bumgarner moving up to that competition director role, and then of course Luke Lambert going up to the Cup Series with Noah Gragson. So we really had no idea who would fill those 2 spots. Like Jim Pullman and Justin Allgaier, they worked together a long time ago. I think it was like 2008. They won an ARCA championship together, I think. And then Lindley and Mayer, like you mentioned, they have experience just a couple of years ago together. So that'll be definitely very beneficial. I think that just the success that Lindley and Mayer had very recently, I think that bodes well for them. It's a big year for Sam Mayer coming up. So that's obviously very, very important there. And then basically just a couple swaps around. Moyer reunites with Josh Berry. They did half the season together in 2021, so I'm sure they'll pretty much hit their stride pretty quickly. And then Jason Burdett and over with Brandon Jones. I think that's really the first true completely new pairing. So I don't think we'll see much or many negatives out of that. I think everybody will really hit the ground running pretty good over there.
Yeah, and of course, after Junior Motorsports put 3 cars in the championship and didn't win it, maybe it was good to see. Maybe you thought there would be some shifting around. Of course, Jason Burdett and Justin Allgaier have been together for 7 years. Of course, now they're kind of going apart, and of course, and he's reunited with Jim Pullman again. So that'll be interesting to see how that 7 team does. I'm really interested to see what Marty and Sam can do again, because those 2 created a lot of fun in 19 and 20. And obviously, being around ARCA as much as I am, it was fun to see when they were both at GMS. So, okay, there's one last thing to react to, and obviously, I know you've got something coming up that's going to be coming up on the Podium Finish tonight, tonight or tomorrow or something like that. But Ryan Preece is going to be going to the 41 for Stewart-Haas Racing. Cole Custer's back in the Xfinity Series. But overall, Preece gets a full-time Cup ride again. This time it's with Stewart-Haas Racing. Tony kind of won, but this is a win for all modified drivers everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think this is kind of of a win-win overall. I mean, you mentioned like Tony winning, right? He wanted Ryan Preece. Gene Haas really, I think, wanted at least another year out of Cole Custer. But Tony gets his way. You know, he really liked Ryan Preece going into last year. Preece was obviously in that reserve role. Never really got used as a reserve except for, I mean, the scheduled races that he had. So he had 3 scheduled races in Cup, including the Clash. So Clash, Dover, and Charlotte. So he has a little experience in the next gen car, but you know, Cole Custer obviously has really struggled in his 3 years of Cup. Got that one win in his rookie year at Kentucky, able to win Rookie of the Year from it, but has really struggled ever since then. I think stepping down into the Xfinity Series will be very beneficial for him. And you know, we saw what he can still do in the Xfinity Series. He won Auto Club last year, so he goes down to the Xfinity Series, where, in my opinion, he's immediately the championship favorite. Like, we didn't really have any like dead set championship favors up until this point in the Xfinity Series. I mean, I think we all had a couple ideas like, oh, Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, of course. You know, they should be in the mix. Sam Mayer should be in the mix. You know, whoever gets into the Gibbs cars, yeah, sure, they'll be in the mix. The call guys, they'll always be in the mix, but we never had like true, you know, a true favorite, like a dead straight like favorite, if that makes sense. And I think Cole Custer's definitely the first one of those. I mean, if he wins 8 races this year, it wouldn't surprise me. So I think he'll do a lot of winning down there. I think Brian Priest is in a terrific opportunity in the Cup Series. And look, I know that that Cole Custer is probably not happy to be in the Xfinity Series, but I think that could be the best year for him. Let him grow for a year, let him develop for a year, and just let him get that confidence back. So if he ever gets a Cup opportunity again, he knows and he can remember that he knows how to win races.
All right, that's yeah, it should be interesting to see what Cole Custer can do back in the Xfinity Series, and it's going to be interesting to see what Ryan Preece can do in the Cup Series in the 41 car. All right, well, Nathan, before we let you go, what's coming up on TPF?
Got some season in review stuff going on. So for all 3 series, going to take a look at all the different playoff drivers and all the at least contending playoff drivers. So maybe if they just missed the playoffs a little bit, we'll do a little season review for them. So that'll really be sprinkled across the whole off season. And then some features about maybe some driver announcements and stuff. So and some hopefully some interviews coming up too.
Yeah, and they're well, yeah. Stay tuned to this channel because one of them's coming on in a few minutes. So we'll talk soon. Nathan, thanks so much for coming on, bud. Appreciate it.
Always, thank you.